Hi, everyone. Welcome to Bragg About It. I'm Meghan Bragg.
And I'm Carleen Bragg.
Okay, so we are not sisters.
No, not by blood, but by soul.
But yes, and that is way better than by blood.
Just as important, if not more.
If
you know
not
what I mean?
more. Welcome to our show, Bragg About It. This is all about finding really cool people in our community, doing really cool things. You know, I don't know if you've ever been told this, Carleen, but back in my day, people would be like, "Oh, your last name's Bragg. Why don't you brag about it? You like to brag?"
Sometimes we do.
You know what? And we're taking that and we're bragging.
And you
okay?
should.
Absolutely.
Right.
You should. That's why we're here, is so that you can brag, because we want to hear your brag. So we are so excited to introduce our very first guest. It's a person you know very well, Larry Sprinkle.
I just happened to be around the neighborhood.
We're like,
He went, hey, Larry, what are you doing? Nothing.
like,
come
you,
on
like,
here.
come on in.
Yeah.
you're it.
Surrounded by the Braggs.
Yes.
I like that.
I know.
We're honored.
I always wondered whether y'all are related.
Yeah.
No.
Not blood related, but
Might as well be.
Might as
spiritually related.
We're besties.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm
You
the
know.
northern Bragg. She's a southern Bragg.
Our southern counterpart.
Oh.
We were just meant to meet.
It's good to be here surrounded by the Braggs.
Yes, it's good to have you here. Okay, so Larry, there's so many amazing things about you, honestly.
Uh-oh.
And I know this is
Long
you
list.
are not very much so a bragger, but 41 years, right?
At the
Here,
station, yeah.
At the station, hanging
yeah.
around.
Hanging around.
Had nowhere else to go. I just show up
They
here.
took me in.
Yes, right. Day after day, all the comforts of home and more.
But why we, wanted you as our first guest is not because we love you so much, but it's because your accolades and how long you've been in this business, and just, I sometimes call it story time with Larry. Like, I'll just go into his office and I'll be talking to you so much. And
Yeah.
Carleen, really, he's done so much and he's gotten so much.
I started to write all the things down.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I
no.
ran out of room.
Oh, no.
I have all of these notes and I've
Oh,
run out of
gosh.
room.
Most may be true, maybe not.
Okay.
Oh, it's true.
Okay.
Well, we're going to get into some of that.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
Okay, I'm ready.
When people hear the name Larry Sprinkle, what do you want them to think of?
Well, I'll tell you what Al Roker said one time. We were doing, actually on the air, he was down in Charlotte doing one of his Roker tours, and we were in uptown Charlotte. And this has probably been maybe 30 years ago. He goes, Larry, you had two choices in life. You could have been a urologist or a meteorologist. So you made the right choice.
you did.
So, well, when people, for me, it's just, obviously the name, and people always go, that can't be your real name. And
What's
like
your name?
anytime I go to a school, I always tell this quick story to the kids. I'll go, when I was 10 years old, on my 10th birthday, I got to visit Channel 12 up in Winston-Salem, where we lived at the time. And because I was so fascinated with weather, I was in the studio, standing next to the weather set. And the weatherman walked up to me, and he looked at me, he goes, "Are you interested in all this?" I said, "Oh, yes, I sure am." He goes, "Would you like to have this kind of job?" "Yeah, I really would." And he goes, "How old are you?" I said, "I just turned 10. And he goes, "What's your name?" And remember, I'm 10 years old, so my name is Larry Sprinkle. And so,
There we go.
there's the answer.
Giggles.
It was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
meant to be. You started in radio, but did you always know, obviously visiting that station, that you wanted to be on TV and this is something you wanted to do?
It's really interesting because probably when I got fascinated with weather when I was about 4 or 5 years old, storms. And I was terrified, but it's like hot sauce. If you like it, you have some and you go, "Man, that burns, but I want more." Well, I used to, like, storms would happen, I'd run outside, my parents, "Get back in here, it's thunder and lightning out there." And so I was terrified in the beginning, then as I got older, I became more and more fascinated. So I started watching that weatherman on Channel 12. He was the Shell weatherman, but I also loved radio. And so I got a little, we call it transistor radio. You guys are too young
No
to know what
way.
that is, but little bitty radios. I would take to bed every night and listen. I was about 5, 6 years old, and I was fascinated. I love the music, but it was the DJs. It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
"Hi, this is Ron Radio, and you're listening to WTO," those big voices. I thought, gosh, if I could ever be a disc jockey. So I had two dreams, to be a radio DJ and do weather on television, and I stayed the course and ended up having a career in radio, and then a career in television, which I'm still doing for
Right.
maybe another 40 years.
Yeah. I do want to ask you too, because obviously you had the radio background before you were on TV. My first time on TV, listen, my heart was like, ding, 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 ding. I'm like, hi, I'm Meghan
Terrifying.
Bragg. Do you remember your first time on TV? Were you nervous at all, or were you just, I mean, you're Larry Sprinkle, you're so cool, but
Right.
you know what I mean? Like, do you remember what that was like?
When the first time I did weather on television was almost an accident. This was many years ago, 1985, I think. I was working at the TV station, but I wasn't in the news department or the weather department. But I was there every day in the weather department, and we had one meteorologist at that time. This is way back, and he was doing what's called a live shot. And they had no preparation for any accidents or any problems. And the live show went down, and they said, Larry, you're on. Literally like that. It was like
You're up.
We joke about things like this. And so they threw a mic on me, put a mic on, no earpiece, no IFB, and I just jumped in front of the green screen. Back in those days, it was the blue screen, by the way. It was blue back in those days. And faked it. I faked it till I made it. And, you know, did 2.5 minutes, and so that was my initiation into radio. So I didn't have time to get nervous.
Yeah.
I really didn't. It was like, okay, Larry, you're on. Put it on. Okay, here I am. And then I did it. I think I mumbled through it, stumbled through it, but somehow made it through it. But there have been times when, you know, there's a little bit of apprehension. If there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of severe weather, storm threats are going on. I'm not sure if it's nervousness or just apprehensive about you want to make sure you get the information right, and that you perform okay, and you look calm. So my knees have shaken many times that you could never see on the air.
I know.
You do stay cool, calm, and collected.
Try
Is it a practice? Like, is it something that you know, like, how do you develop that skill?
Right.
You know, I think it comes with time, and I think anyone who's in this business, you know, the more often you're in front of the camera, the more relaxed you get. But you know what? There's still, it's like, because I stopped doing weather on the morning show full-time last year. But I've been filling in, which they knew I was going to do. And I still get that little bit of, like, I don't know, supercharged energy, or a little bit of, like, there's a tiny bit of fear factor, like, okay, I've got to do this right, hope I'm okay. I've only got so many minutes to get all this in. So, you know, there's still that little bit of nervousness, but, you know, it's all good. Because I think that creates the energy. If you just channel it into the positive energy, you'll do okay.
Do you ever remember a time where you just like botched it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I
We
mean,
all do.
I mean,
I've-
yes.
In this business, it's bound to happen.
Honey,
I
that was
don't
my
think
traffic
it's-
report yesterday. I couldn't say anything.
I mean, I've fallen flat on my face, literally.
On
before.
air?
Yeah, tripped. You know, when we used to do our weather outside. This is many years ago when the management at that time said, we've got to do something different. There's a lot of competition in the Charlotte market. So we're going to put you guys outside.
Oh.
And we were called the WCNC Outdoor Weather Team. And everything, it didn't matter what kind of weather was going on. It didn't matter what's happening. You're on the weather outside in front of a big key, we call it a key wall, a green screen. And I remember, you know, one time we used to what's called walk into the shot. And here's Larry Sprinkle with your outdoor weather. And I walked and boom, flat on my face. Like I just almost did just then. But I mean, literally. And that was not in this building, the old building, and it was concrete. And
Oh, no.
It didn't feel too good. And I got
can't
back up,
imagine.
and I made a joke. Oh, yeah, you know, that's the kind of weather we're going to have. It just flattens you. It'll
You're
flatten
a
you.
performer.
He really
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
So,
I mean-
but I felt, oh gosh. And I mean, I've had things happen on the air that were just embarrassing. A lot has to do with animals. All the animals I've
Your
had.
tail wagger.
Love
Tail
the
waggers.
animals.
I've had rabbits that I brought on the set with me, put them down on the desk. You know, we're all sitting there, and I go, yeah, our tail wagger is this rabbit, and then just pellets. Boom, 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 boom. A whole slew of pellets.
whole
All
line of
over
them.
that. And I remember one time we had a hamster, and I was holding him, and oh, this is the cutest little thing. It's our tail wagger this week, and just all over my hand.
Oh,
Poo-poo
no.
on my hand. Can we say
That's live
poo-poo?
television.
Yeah, we can
It's
say
live
poo-poo.
TV,
We can say anything on
and
here.
it was not pleasant. I held my hand so you couldn't see it, but I smelled it, and it was, yeah.
It was enough.
Yeah, it was the kind that, I'll be okay.
Oh, my gosh.
And there have been other crazy things with animals.
So what do you want to tell the kids out there that want to get into broadcasting that are scared? Their first day. What do you want to tell them?
Don't move. Stand still. Look at the camera, look at the key wall, and you'll be okay. Just don't move.
Oh,
Yeah.
great.
Don't trip and fall.
Don't trip and fall. That's good advice. And we're going to have some more advice and adventures with Larry coming up after this quick break.
Welcome back to Bragg About It. We're here with the Bragg girls,
Yes.
and of course the icon, the legend, Larry Sprinkle.
Keep talking.
He's. I just want to really quickly go through some of your awards because I'm going to brag about you a little bit, Larry. I just want to say May 15th is National Larry Sprinkle Day. You carried the Olympic torch. You had the Dogwood Award, NC Association Broadcast Hall of Fame. I mean, the list goes on and on. I can't even keep talking about how
What
much
can't
there
you
is.
do?
Yeah, literally.
A lot. A lot. I mean, it's
Seriously.
anything. I just, you know, sometimes you go through life and you see talented people, and I have a big affinity for people in the music business. I do a lot, have been over my entire life. I'm not a musician though, but I've certainly been around musicians, from those who just started to the ones who, you know, the ones who are like legendary. And I admire that so much, that talent so much. The ability to perform, to take an instrument, whatever it may be, or to use their voice, or whatever creative force they have in the music business, and also art. I admire artists so much, and I have no skill set at all in that. I'll tell you a quick story. I was at a second grade class, talking to second graders a couple years ago, and I said, let me draw the map of the United States on the blackboard. So I went up and with chalk, an outline of the United States, and they applauded. And so I didn't say anything. I just finished it. Here, this is where this is. Blah, blah. At the end of the class, I went to the teacher. I said, why do they applaud after I drew that map? And she said, because that's the way they draw the map.
No.
So my art is second grade level.
Right.
That's
So
as
you're
high
a
as I've
second
gotten.
grade. Okay.
Yeah.
So really, I mean, that's the accomplishment we should have said, Larry. The first one I should have said. Second grade artist right
Yeah.
there.
Oh, yeah.
Good for you.
You have been with so many musicians. I want to say my favorite story that I've ever heard from you was when you were running down the road from girl fans, from someone from the Partridge Family.
David Cassidy?
Yes, David Cassidy,
Yeah.
which I love, my mother loves. So it's just, I mean, you've done so much, and you've been in Charlotte for so long. What are you thinking like about Charlotte and how it's changed throughout the years?
I mean, I got here in the early 70s, and Charlotte was, at that time, I would say was a big, medium-sized town. It was still a little bit of industry, with some of the textile industry is still going. Trucking companies were big. There were banks here, but not to the extent they are now. Downtown or uptown Charlotte was like closed up at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. But it was a comfortable city. I was in radio and had a really nice career in radio at that time. But I've seen it grow to the point where I'm going, wow, man. You always hear, I remember back when I was a young whippersnapper, they didn't have all the traffic they have now. So I'm starting to do a little bit of that. Gosh, the traffic is getting crazy and the congestion and everything. But it's a beautiful city. It's a great city. And people, when they move here, they love it. I mean, they find a home, and that's a great thing. I had moved around my entire life, and decided when I came to Charlotte, this is it. I may have opportunities other places, and will stay here, and that's why I'm sitting here today with the Braggs.
With the Braggs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, speaking of places, you've been everywhere. What's the
Almost.
coolest place you've ever done the forecast?
So this was in Hickory, probably 37 years ago, doing a live report from a hot air balloon. Me, the
Hot air
pilot,
balloon.
and Bela Fleck
Wow.
singing and playing the banjo while I was doing the weather.
I mean,
So
Wow.
floating
how cool is that?
across the foothills of North Carolina in a hot air balloon on a beautiful spring day.
Were you
That is
scared?
so cool.
That time I wasn't.
Yeah.
I've done live shots in balloons a number of times.
Really?
Oh, so
How
this is a habit now.
I was going to say, how many?
How many times?
Probably, if you put it all together, because I was on the radio in a balloon, probably on air 5 or 6 times. On
Larry,
air.
do
Yeah.
you own a hot air balloon?
Yeah.
No. I mean, I admire people who do that. The last time I was on a hot air balloon was up in the Iredell County area, up around Mooresville, out in the boonies, doing a live shot and floating, and we're coming back in, and the wind's kind of it's kind
Yeah.
of bumping around, and then we're coming down, and I went, are those power lines? And like, man,
no.
it was only about 2 feet above these power lines. And then we hit, the landing spot was in a parking lot. It was like, boom!
Oh my
It was
God.
like
Falling
that.
again.
He's falling.
I know. And so it wasn't like, the basket kind of tipped over, and I went, I'm not sure about this. And I
Yeah.
went,
You're like, it might
so
be.
that was the last time, but for the most part, it was beautiful to be up there, just floating, And that one time at Beta Fleck, we were floating over a farm with all these cows, and he's singing to cows, playing the banjo. And then while I was doing the forecast, you hear banjo music in the background. Yeah, so it was. I always had a great time.
Do we need
Yeah.
to bring back a soundtrack for your forecast?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, right. We also have to talk about your characters. Larry Sprinkle has been in movies. He's done a really famous toilet commercial, and
The Tiny Bowl Man, by the
the
way.
Tiny
Right?
Bowl,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
And not only that, my favorite show of the whole year is the Halloween Spectacular show that Larry has several guests on for.
friends.
I have to ask you, what is your favorite character to play through all of them?
Well, because I did that for, let's see, this would be the 28th year, if it happens. I don't know.
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, well,
So,
the bus will
For
come.
27 years, and I've done in our management, our news directors, our managers have been so nice because it really is kind of taking over
Yeah.
the morning with all these crazy characters. Some may be ones that people may recognize. Like I always loved doing Elvis.
Yeah.
It's not Elvis, it's Evis, EVIS, the
Evis.
world's 687th best Elvis impersonator. And so he comes on with the whole Elvis outfit. But I think the one that gets the most reaction and the one that I really enjoy is Hello Helen.
Yes.
Oh,
Hello.
yeah.
It's
There she is right
my
there. Yeah.
favorite.
Yeah.
What a
too.
queen.
What a queen. And what made you think of these characters? Like, how is it just because you love acting or these variety shows, or what made you
Yeah.
get into that?
Did you ever try out for SNL?
Yeah.
That's interesting because, to be quite honest with you,
They're about to tell us you're about to be on SNL.
no, this SNL. This I don't think I've ever related this to anyone because I'll tell it quickly.
No, go ahead.
So SNL had been on the air maybe 2 years. I was in radio, the thing is, on radio, my job was doing characters. I was the
Right.
called a character voice guy. So I did all kinds of I did like the presidents and all whomever. And so I did a lot of sketch writing, and we did a lot of comedy sketches on the radio. And so the SNL was on, and at that time, you didn't have camcorders. So I submitted a reel-to-reel tape of my comedy sketches, examples of what I've written, and some pictures, and sent it to SNL. And got a rejection letter. Thanks, but no thanks. I mean,
Yeah.
they
they
were very
slept on a
nice.
star.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did.
Well, I mean, you never know. I mean, the cast, those people were exceptional.
There's still
Oh
time,
yeah,
Larry.
Yeah.
there's still time.
Resubmit it.
Oh, really? I could go?
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
go. Bye. Yeah,
Live from
he's
New York,
gone.
it's Larry Sprinkle.
Sprinkle. Yeah. To get a little serious now, Larry, there's a moment in all of our careers, especially in the news business, when we sit back and are like, do I want to do this anymore?
Yeah.
Just, because of everything going on in the world and everything like that. Was there ever a moment for you? I mean, you've been here 41 years. You've had such a long career. At one point in time where you were like, I think I'm going to walk away.
When I was in radio, because I had a career, I started in radio as a kid and stayed in it for many, many years. And when I was in radio, I knew, and I literally, my mind said, Larry, you need to leave. And I had the goal to be in television, doing what I'm doing now. And I did. I literally left radio, and I left that job, a very good job, without another job.
That's scary.
It is. I left without, but the thing is, because I had done some work at this station in its form back in 1985, they said, Larry, we have this opportunity here, and so I kind of had to work my way into what I'm doing now. But no, I mean, I haven't had that cross my mind in television. We all have our own inadequacies, we have our own issues, whatever they may be. But I literally have loved working in the TV business. It was a goal of mine as a kid to do it, and every day I love coming into the TV station. Part of that is because of the people you work with.
Right.
And that makes all the difference in the world.
It's very true.
We're a family here.
We
Thank
are
you,
a family
too.
here, and yes. So we're so happy you're here.
Yeah.
And
You want to be a Bragg?
yeah, you want to be a Bragg?
Can I be a
You have
Bragg?
a great name. Don't get
That-
me
that
wrong.
would
I
be
know.
3 Braggs.
Larry Sprinkle
But if
Bragg.
you'd like to be a Bragg, we'll
Can I be
hand it
Larry
to you.
Bragg?
Please.
Love it.
We'd be honored.
I'm Larry Bragg.
The honor is ours.
Yeah.
Okay, well, when we come back, it's the moment we've all been waiting for, to hear Larry Sprinkle brag about it.
That's it.
I know.
It's time.
It's time, Larry.
It's time, Larry.
All
Larry
right.
Sprinkle is going to be here. I know him very well.
Larry
Yeah.
Bragg will be here.
Larry Bragg, Larry Sprinkle.
Yeah,
We'll be
Larry Sprinkle.
we'll be back.
Sprinkle.
Welcome back to Bragg About It. It's the time you've been waiting for. We teased it. Now it's time. Larry, brag about it.
Brag about it.
Brag about it. I mean, what am I supposed to brag about?
You.
You.
No, I am the worst at that kind of thing.
I know.
We
That's
know.
why
we
we-
had a feeling you'd be this.
You picked the wrong person to brag about. I mean, I just, here's the thing in what I do, and it's my life has been, I enjoy helping other people, and always have. I was a Boy Scout. I was in Alpha Phi Omega service fraternity in college. That's what they did. And I just think, I had a general manager of the radio station I worked for when I was 14 years old, and he said, Larry, the only way you're going to make it in this business, you have to be involved. You have to be in the community. You have to give back. And he says, and here's exactly what he said, and they will talk about you. You don't have to talk about yourself, because that's what will happen.
Your work speaks for itself.
Yeah, I mean, you're out there, and if you do the right thing, people will respond. So I'm one of those people, I guess I've had a hard time saying no to organizations that said, hey, we got this, we got this event going on. Could you show up and hang out for a while? Or could you be the auctioneer for this? And so that's what I've done my whole career, especially in television, is just to be involved. Because of what that manager said to me when I was a kid, he said, the only way you're ever going to make it in this business is to be out there. You have to be among the people. So I love doing that, and sometimes I go to the grocery store, and I may do the forecast 5, 6, 7 times before I leave, but that's because people, I guess they like it.
I think that's the truth.
Yeah.
I have a list here, and it scratches the surface of how many organizations you've helped and been a part of. Salvation Army, Loaves and Fishes, Nourish Up, Boys and Girls Club, Holy Angels, Children's Miracle Network. You do your tail wagger every Tuesday. How many events do you think you've been a part of? How many charity events do you think you've been a part of?
About every year I probably do, as far as events, it could be MC events, it could be, because I do a lot of the charity auctions, a lot of those. I would say probably per year, maybe 50 or so, 50 to
Wow.
60 events a year. Yeah.
Times 41.
Yeah,
and here
right.
We are,
And
like,
here we are.
goodness.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
We're
That's
so
amazing.
happy to brag about it with you.
Yeah.
Because you're
Thank
worth
you.
bragging about.
You are so worth bragging about. And, you know, people will ask, what, you know, you work with Larry Sprinkle. What is he
It's
like?
the number one question I get
Yeah.
asked if I say I work at WCNC.
Yeah, and I say it's exactly who you think
Yep.
he is. He is the kindest, most wonderful human, and so
Yes.
we are so lucky to have you here and just a part of our
We
lives.
love you, Larry.
We do
Love you,
love
Larry
you.
Bragg.
It,
We
it
love you,
goes
Larry
back.
Bragg.
I am honored to be a Bragg for a day or maybe longer. But thank you for letting me be on the very first.
Yes.
That's an honor right there. And
Yeah.
I hope I pass the audition. I can maybe come back again.
Oh my God.
Yes.
yes.
Oh,
Okay.
we haven't even
Bragg.
scratched the surface with
We
you,
had- yeah,
really.
we-
I know.
Part
there's-
two, part
yeah,
two,
there's
yeah.
so much
Yeah.
more we
Surface
could
with
talk
Larry.
about.
But thank you, and I love
Yes.
bragging
Yes.
with
and-
you too.
You're good at it.
Okay,
Yes.
Thank you.
And thank you guys so much for joining us. Something we love to do is brag.
Obviously.
And we want to hear from you. So if you have someone that you want to brag about or if you think that we should be bragging about, let us
Let us
know.
know.
We would love to hear from you.
Yeah.